Hi, welcome to today's lesson. Our learning target today is I can use the reciprocal to divide a unit fraction by a whole number. Now, I hope that sounds familiar because a few lessons ago we learned to use the reciprocal to divide a whole number by a unit fraction. Today's lesson is very similar. So let's review what we already know. Last week, we learned to divide a whole number like 3 by a unit fraction like 7. We learned that if we take our 3 wholes, divide each up into 7 sevenths. So we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sevenths in each of the 3 wholes. Well, that is the same, if we bring this down here, as multiplying 3 by 7 over 1, or the reciprocal. This is the reciprocal of 1/7. And of course, 7 over 1 is the same as 7, so it's like 3 times 7, and that's 21. And 21 is the quotient. 3 divided by 1/7 is 21. And if we were to count up all these 7 sevenths, we'd see that there are, in fact, 21 of them. So that's how we use a reciprocal to multiply by the dividend to find our quotient in previous lessons. Now, let's review what we've learned this week and then apply the reciprocal and multiplication to it. So here's a problem we've already tackled. We have 1/3 divided by 2. We've used a visual model, and here we have 1/3 of the whole square, shaded in blue. And we learned that if we divide it into 2 parts, it's the same as cutting that third in half. We're finding half of the 1/3. Let me write that out. Half of the 1/3. Now let's notice a couple of things about this number sentence. Half of 1/3. First, we learned a while ago that the word of is actually a shortcut. It's a code. And in math, it means multiply. And if you take a closer look at 1/2, you might notice something about it as it relates to the number 2. 1/2 is the reciprocal of the number 2. Do you understand how that works? Let's figure it out. The number 2, when written as a fraction, is 2 over 1. And when we find the reciprocal of 2 over 1, we take the numerator and make it the denominator. We take the denominator and make it the numerator and make it the denominator. And now let's look at 1/2 and how it relates to the number 2. 1/2 is the reciprocal of the number 2. Let's figure out how that works. If we take the number 2 and write it as a fraction, we have to write it over 1. Well, if we take 2 over 1 and flip the numerator and denominator on their ends, we get 1 over 2. And that is a half. And that is what we're already finding. That's the size of the piece that we're already finding of 1/3. 1/2 of a third, or 1/2 times a third. We're multiplying by the reciprocal of the whole number. So let's formalize this and let's make this very clear, and then let's practice this over and over. To divide a unit fraction by a whole number, multiply the dividend by the reciprocal of the divisor. Let's see how that works in another example. Here, our dividend is 1/3, and we're dividing it by our divisor 6. So if we're going to divide our unit fraction by a whole number by multiplying the dividend by the reciprocal of the divisor, well, we're going to start by rewriting 1/3 and then changing the division sign to multiplication. So let's do that. And then we're going to find the reciprocal of 6. Well, to do that, we first have to write 6 as a fraction, 6 over 1. And then we're going to take 6 over 1 and we're going to flip it on its head. And that is 1 over 6, or 1/6. So now we have a number sentence, 1/3 times 1/6. Let's do that. 1 times 1 is 1, and 3 times 6 is 18. 18 is the quotient, the answer. 1/3 divided by 6 is 1/18. You want to try another one? Let's do it. Here we have 1/4 divided by 8. Well, let's start by rewriting 1/4. Now, what are we going to turn the division symbol into? Yes, multiplication. And what is the reciprocal of 8? Yes, it's 1/8. Because if we write 8 as a fraction, it's 8 over 1. And taking 8 over 1 and turning it on its head like that makes it 1/8. Multiplying 8 over 1 times 1/8 gets us 1. Do you remember that? That's the real math definition of a reciprocal. Anyway, here we have our number sentence. 1 times 1 and 4 times 8. 1/4 times 1/8. And we're going to get 1/32. And 1/4 divided by 8 is 1/32. All right, let's do a couple more. And this time you are going to solve these problems. What is the quotient to 1/5 divided by 7? Go ahead and figure that one out. All right, did you write down 1/5 times 1/7? Because 1/7 is the reciprocal of 7. And then did you get 1 times 1 is 1, and 5 times 7 is 35. 1/35 is our quotient. 1/5 divided by 7 is 1/5 divided by 7 is 1/35. All right, let's do one more. Here we have 1/2 divided by 8. What is the quotient to this problem? All right, let's check it out. Let's see, we have 1/2, and we are going to multiply by the reciprocal of 8, which written as a fraction is 8 over 1, and so its reciprocal is 1 over 8. And then we'll multiply. 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 8 is 16. The quotient to 1/2 divided by 8 is 1/16. Are you getting this? All right, we're going to practice and practice and practice some more. So let's get ready to do that. Our learning target today is I can use the reciprocal to divide a unit fraction by a whole number. Let's get started. Please let me know if you need help.